The jungles are, and always have been, mysterious, even if they make up just 7% of the Earth's land surface, with that number going down year after year. They are home to half of all living creatures on the planet. And what's more, we don't even know many of them. Nevertheless, the jungle can hide a lot of mysterious things, from huge rings that predate the Amazon forest to the oldest forest tribes. Today, we are looking at 10 unbelievable discoveries that were made in the jungle. Let's begin. Number 10. Mysterious rings. It has always been assumed that the Amazon rainforest was a pristine environment before we began major mining and logging practices in the 19th century. However, new research is showing that there are mysterious ditches found scattered within the rainforest, and they actually predate the rainforest itself. Yes, you heard that right. The rings are older than the forest. These massive structures are up to 5 meters deep, and sometimes just as wide. The big questions have to do with it and how much prehistoric people altered the landscape of the Amazon before the arrival of Europeans. Researchers are still unsure of what the purpose of the rings were, if the use was for defense, drainage, water retention, ceremonial, or religious purposes. But we are constantly finding ways to better understand the history of this unique environment. Sediment cores taken from nearby lakes near the ditches took scientists by surprise when they saw that the oldest sediments didn't come from a rainforest ecosystem, but from a dry savanna. This tells us that the people who lived there at the time faced drastically different conditions than the one we see today. Nature really is something, isn't it? Number 9. Stone spheres. Since the 1930s, farmers have noticed spherical stones scattered across forests in southern Costa Rica. They found them while cleaning the bushes to make room for banana plantations. The stones measure about 6 feet in diameter and weigh as much as 15 tons. These men passed them off as mere coincidence until news got to them that there was gold inside. After breaking them, they found nothing, but this fueled curiosity among them. Archeologists launched an investigation, and soon after, they realized the spherical stones were manufactured around 1000 AD. Little is known about their creators because their culture disappeared soon after the Europeans arrived. However, archaeological findings suggest that the creators lived in circular houses and created the stones using controlled fracture, sand grinding, and pecking. Most of them were arranged in alignment with magnetic north. Although the spheres aren't perfect, they are impressive given that there was no advanced technology at the time. Some of the stone spheres are in public and private places in the country. Therefore, you need not go to the jungle to behold the expertise of this ancient civilization. Number 8. Ant zombies. This is probably the most sinister thing about the Amazon. The zombie ant is one of the most vicious attacking strategies you'll ever hear about. With this species, it involves a mind-controlling parasite that recalls our segment involving suicide. In this case, the parasite is a fungus that takes over ants and directs them to areas where it can replicate and thrive. This hyperparasitic microorganism mainly targets carpenter ants in the Amazon. The insect is quickly infected with a microorganism on its exoskeleton. The fungus soon replicates through the ant and eventually takes over half of the creature's body mass. Experts say that the fungus is able to control its hosts by replacing the ant's central nervous system with its own. Once it's under control, the ant is directed to position itself on a leaf located about 10 inches above the colony's trails, where it seems to attempt suicide by hanging off of a leaf. While the insect perishes, it's not due to its own wish. A stalk on the ant's head erupts and allows spores to rain down over the ant colony trails. As the spores infect new hosts, the cycle repeats. Number 7. Grave Girl. While going for a hike, there are very few things you don't expect to find on your trail. One of those is a century-old, unmarked grave, but this one hiker actually came across this sinister find back in 2014. Graves are supposed to be in graveyards. Even if they're not, at least they have a name stone. But nothing about this one grave was normal. Researchers found out the grave was of a 21-year-old English woman, Marie Holmes. She had emigrated from England to America and originally settled on the East Coast, but after a brief spell began drifting across the country. In autumn of 1897, she arrived as a 20-year-old in Santa Cruz, California, and began working in a brothel on Pacific Avenue. Marie had been separated from her daughter, and that had made her really depressed. She didn't like where her life was heading, so she ended up committing suicide by drinking poison. The public gave her a proper send-off by burying her with flowers and everything. If you think this find was scary, wait till you hear the last one. Number 6. Breathing forest. Up next, we have another found phenomenon that is bound to leave you shell-shocked. Don't insult me in the comments by saying this was made using CGI, because it's totally real. The clip captures a section of a forest in Quebec heaving to and fro, looking like it's a living, breathing, sentient woodland. But no, there's neither any mysterious magic at work here, nor any giant Pokemon asleep under those rocks. Instead, it's due to the weather conditions in the area. It's actually an understandable meteorological phenomenon in which the elements have come together just right to create this unusual scene. When you look at the trees in the background, it's clear that the winds were very strong. The forest floor seems to be moss-covered, which leaves a lot of the root system of younger trees loose. As the wind sways the trees, you get the roots lifting the floor. This gives the appearance of breathing. Nature can be really breathtaking, pun intended, but really, this is some sight. Number 5. Playing in a forest. I know that sounds weird, but believe me, the story is way weirder than the title itself. A Boeing 727 is the last thing you'd expect to see nestled in a forest. They're mostly seen crashing with engine failures, but this plane didn't crash land in the forest in Oregon, USA. You'd be surprised to know that the retired aircraft is actually now home to its owner, former electrical engineer Bruce Campbell. Complete with a cockpit, airline seats, and flight controls, home conversions don't get much more extraordinary than this. I gotta say, this is pretty darn cool and innovative. If you want to visit this, check out Bruce's website. He loves to have visitors around. Number 4. The Boiling River. Deep in the Amazon lies a river 4 miles long and unlike any other on Earth. The Shanay Timpishka is so hot that any animal that steps into it gets boiled alive. When an unlikely creature wanders in, the eyes cook first, melting in its skull. Soon the animal is in too much pain to keep swimming to safety. Water fills its mouth and lungs, and it's cooked from the inside out. The river gets as hot as 196 degrees Fahrenheit, and scientists aren't completely sure why. Normally, water that gets that hot is fed by a volcano, but this one is 700 kilometers away from the nearest one. There is a theory, though. Scientists believe that boiling water from under the earth cracks through fault lines and heats up the river, making the water a geothermal system, unlike any other on the earth. But nothing has been confirmed, and it's still a mystery. This boiling river is incredible just to hear about, and is apparently breathtaking to see. I wouldn't personally want to get near it. My clumsiness might have me slipping into a hot situation. Number 3. Money Tree. Remember when you were a kid and wanted to buy a lot of snacks, but your parents wouldn't let you by saying money doesn't grow on trees? Well, now you can show them this tree full of copper and silver coins that were found on trails from the Peak District to the Scottish Highlands. How fascinating is this? These weird spectacles often have coins from centuries ago buried deep in their bark and warped by the passage of time. The tradition of making offerings to gods and wishing trees dates back hundreds of years, but this combination of the man-made and the natural is far rarer. Did you know that it was believed that divine spirits used to live in trees? What a way to bribe the gods, right? The coins are usually knocked into felled tree trunks using stones by passers-by, who hope it'll bring them good fortune. It might not bring them good fortune, but it'll definitely be a fortune for the person who tries to steal it one day. Who'd want to join me in doing so?
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by one of our subscribers. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it on over to us. Who knows, we might even feature it on a future video. This seems like a Photoshop picture, as a skull this big has never been discovered, but it does give us an idea of what we expect to find in the forest. Scientists have discovered fossils of many prehistoric creatures in jungles, so it's fair to say that there's much more to explore. So, we can never rule out the possibility of finding a huge, giant head either. Number 1. The Sentinelese people. The Sentinelese tribe is the most isolated known tribe on Earth. They inhabit the jungle of North Sentinel Island in the Indian Ocean and are believed to have lived there for 60,000 years. They have refused every attempt the Western world makes to reach out to them and have been known to kill people who get too close. They speak an unclassified language and drive away any research teams with arrows and spears. The tribe is estimated to have no more than 500 people, but they still manage to do extremely well, crafting metal tools and appearing to be in good health. The real mystery of this tribe is how they managed to survive the 2004 tsunami that wrecked many of the Andaman Islands. The Sentinelese tribe managed to survive without any help from the outside world at all. How they did it will likely forever remain a mystery, as no one is going to get very close to them in the foreseeable future. What's the strangest thing that you've found in the jungle? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.